And we're on to our second race of four. Four Derby prep races this weekend, three for 50, one for 10. And we're going to go down to Gulfstream, beautiful Hallandale Beach, Florida, to Gulfstream Park to take a look at the Fountain of Youth Stakes here. Fountain of Youth, field of 12 now, as we had the favorite Modonigal stretch. So we are at a field of 12. The 13 draws in, going 1 1/16 of a mile in the Gulfstream dirt. Quite the day. They have this first bet day going on this weekend. Seems like a lot of good stakes. They've got all stakes pick 5 for the dirt, all stakes picks for 5 for the turf. And these are cross country mixing in with Santa Anita. So quite a good betting day. I'm very excited for it. But let's take a look at this Fountain of Youth. We'll start off with the number 1 here, Mark Mayhem. 20 to 1 on the morning line. I would need all of that. Pasco Stakes winner, ships to Gulfstream Park from Tampa. Inside speed, so it fits the bias on the Gulfstream dirt routes. And Manassas stays on in the irons, but the Figs put this horse too far back for me at first call. I don't see this horse winning, especially from that number 1 post, which has not been the easiest to win from on the Gulfstream Park dirt when you're going 2 turns. What did you think of the 2 and the 3, Caleb?
Yeah, I think the 2 is a huge player in here, simplification. If you watch the Holy Bull, I think anybody could tell you about the trouble this horse had in that race. He threw his head at the brake. He was off slow. And this is a horse that really does his best running up front, on or just off the pace. It was really impressive the way that he didn't quit, that he was able to pass all but one. And he even galloped out, quite a ways ahead of White Barrio that day. So I think simplification is a big player in here. I think you're not going to get a price because I think everyone's going to see that trouble in that race. But I think that he is a big-time player in this race as he picks up the services of Jose Ortiz in this spot. The number 3, Howling Time. This is a horse that I think is a little interesting at a price. So Dale Romans has 2 in here, although one's rumored to possibly be scratching with Giant Game. So this may end up being Dale Romans' only runner. And this is probably the one I wanted the most of anyway. This horse broke his maiden at Churchill pretty impressively when he was closing from pretty far off the pace. He then kind of stalked in the street sense and won that race in just absolute dominant fashion. And then he went into the Kentucky Jockey Club race, which for the past couple of weeks we've been saying is a key race. And he didn't run poorly there. I mean, he ran 5th, but that was a race that, despite the fractions appearing on the more moderate side, the race really fell apart up front, and off the pace runners kind of dominated that race. We know that Classic Causeway, White Barrio, Midnight Bourbon, a lot of runners came out to win. Smile Happy came back to run 2nd. That's a good race, and I think that this horse doesn't need the lead, although he set the pace there, and he could be really interesting in this race at a pretty good price. So I think he's one that I'm going to include on some of my tickets. What did you think about the number 4, In Due Time?
In Due Time, first time around 2 turns. Horse should love the added distance. 2 for 3 lifetime. The Figs fit the field perfectly. The one big concern I have is Kelly Breen has been horrible first time off Lasix. So this horse comes off Lasix for the first time. I think that's going to be an issue here. But this horse could be a price of the field. I'm interested to see if that added distance, if it really does love the added distance like the pedigree says it should. Number 5, Dean Delivers. This horse is the bridesmaid. It has a case of seconditis. Lost in the photo last time out. Switches to Miggy here. Not necessarily the most popular or best jockey when you look at Gulfstream Park, but if you look at the impact report from Horse Racing Nation on their jockey report, his impact has been phenomenal. When he does win, you are getting paid big for when he wins. Horse has had pretty good speed figures last time out. Yates said in an interview the other day that the horse is ready to go. I think this is going to be a very live long shot here. I'm just interested to see if we're going to get another hang and be a bridesmaids again. What do you think of the 6 and 7?
Number 6, Rattle and Roll. So I really like this horse in this race. I think this is a race that has a lot of sprinters stretching out, a lot of horses that like to be up on that pace. And Rattle and Roll, I think, is by far the best closer in this field. So I thought that he was a totally different horse when they put him around 2 once. I mean, he lost the, well, he lose a jockey, but he bolted once and had to get pulled up at Saratoga, but then came back at Churchill and just dominated a maiden field, and then came right back and crushed the Breeders' Futurity at Keeneland back in October. And I thought that was visually just a super impressive effort. He beat a decent horse in Double Thunder, and then Again, Classic Causeway, who we've talked about, came back to win a stakes race this year. So Rattle and Roll, I think, gets the right pace set up. I am a little concerned about the layoff. I think that's the one question mark, is that he hasn't been seen since October. So it remains to be seen just how fit and cranked he might be for this race. But I think Rattle and Roll is a big time player in this race. Number 7, AP Secret. So it's almost a little crazy to think that we're getting this kind of a price for a Saffy Joe and Tyler Gaffalione horse at Gulfstream Park, who really hasn't done anything wrong. I mean, he's got 2 wins and a second from 3 starts. The figures aren't the fastest in the field, but they aren't anything that puts him totally out of contention. And I have heard a lot of hype around this horse from a lot of people on horse racing Twitter and wherever else. I've seen a lot of steam on this horse. So this is one that I wouldn't sell too short. It looks like he's been working like an absolute freak in the mornings with a couple of those bullet works. He does have to deal with some other speed in here, but he did prove in his maiden race that he doesn't necessarily need the lead. So that gives Tyler some options up front. I think AP Secret is maybe not a horse I'm going to have a ton of my money going through, but at a big enough price, I think he's definitely usable. I think that brings us to number 8, Emmanuel. Where'd you land there, Andrew?
Todd Pletcher in the Fountain of Youth, peanut butter and jelly. What can I say? You know where I'm going here. Horse has 2 back-to-back bullets. 2 for 2 lifetime. Size up. Size and Pletcher's together right now, 29.5%. This was a big purchase at the Keeneland September sale. I expect this horse to hit the board and possibly win. I will say this horse is running against the bias, at probably one of the biggest against the bias out of every horse in this field. Then we'll just take a quick look at the tic-tac-toe when we're looking at routes. 45% wire to wire. So, there's only 20% closers, and we would classify him as a closer here. So definitely going to be up against it. Again, stakes horses don't necessarily respect the bias all the time. Sometimes they're more powerful and they can run right through it. But I do think the bias is going to carry here. And I do think that Emmanuel is going to be up against it. And I am not a fan of betting short-priced horses as closers. You can't teach speed. That brings us to number 9, possibly the only Dale Romans horse in the race. If we do see that scratch, High Oak. I saw this horse live and it won the Saratoga Special. I was very high on the horse that day. I said, this could be my Derby horse here. It's very early. The horse has definitely regressed since then. I think that this horse has been on the bench for, this is the Mott trainee, this is the Mott trainee. High Oak, he's been on the bench for 180 days. Works look okay, but for a horse that's been on the bench for 180 days, I would need to see a lot better works coming into this for me to get excited about anything. So this is a High Oaks is going to be a toss for me. 8-1 is not even close to where I would need it to be to bet it. What do you think of the 10?
Yeah, number 10, Giant Game. So this is the other Romans horse in here. Just saw earlier this morning on Twitter that Roman said he's leaning towards scratching this horse, just given the big field, and he doesn't like the far outside post. So not sure this horse ultimately ends up running. Maybe goes to Tampa or Keeneland instead. That being said, this is not a horse I like anyway, even if he does run. I think people see that Breeders' Cup Juvenile race and get all excited about it, but I don't think that's turned out to be a very strong field. We haven't seen Corniche run back. Papa Cap has been pretty exposed at this point, and some of the other, also-rans just haven't really done much. So I thought his Holy Bull was beyond terrible, and I'm not really willing to give him another shot when I wasn't that high on him in the first place. I think that takes us to number 11, O Captain. So this is a horse that I have a hard time making a case for. He's stretching way out for a horse that, it's unclear that he really wants to go that far at this point of his racing career. He was beaten by much weaker last time. I mean, pretty handily beaten. Not really sure what his run style is going to be, if he does need the lead or if he's going to be in that contested pace duel up front. I mean, it was curious to see Castellano take this mount here when he did ride Simplification his last 2 times. Not sure if that was a trainer call or owner call, or if Javier just actually thinks this horse is something special. But I think you'll get every bit of 30-1, and this would be one of the more unlikely winners for me.
So that brings us to the AE here, number 13 with the scratch of the 12. Galt. Matrani draws in, saw him run the Holy Bill. Jockey looked lost, can't believe, rushed up, faded back to 4th. Tough to come from the 12th post here. I will say Joel takes the mount. If the horse can go back and run to its stalking running style, the horse has a chance. I just really think that outside is really hard at Gulfstream. And then Fountain of Youth Day, and people don't necessarily talk about this as much, how Gulfstream is built. You're really on top of it. You are right up against the rail there. And there's going to be a big crowd tomorrow, and you see these outside horses again and again break poorly when they're going from that first finish line running style when they go 1 1/16 of a mile. So I'm interested to see what happens there. Moving for my top pick here, I'm going to go with Simplification. Was my top pick in the Holy Bull. I watched it miss the break, and it showed amazing ability to run up and get a great second against Whitebarrow. I think that the horse showed diversity, came into diversity and showed what it can do. This field seems a little bit easier than the Holy Bull to me, especially with the scratch of the 12. I think this horse can get the lead and just keep on going. Jose has a phenomenal ability of settling horses on the lead. He is red hot right now. He won 2 hand rides today already. Inside post gives us a nice chance, especially coming off. We're in their inside hole there. Horse has been working extremely well. I'm all in on this horse. This is most likely going to be my Derby horse if I had to pick one today. Simplification on the lead, walking it all the way around for Jose Ortiz. Who's your top pick, Caleb?
Yeah, I do really like Simplification. That's probably my 1A pick maybe. But my top pick here is number 6, Rattle and Roll. I think this horse just gets it from a pace perspective. He should get an honest pace to chase after. He's proven that he handles this distance already. I mean, with both of his wins coming at this trip, he's already got a Grade 1 win to his name. And, Brian Hernandez retains the mount and comes to Gulfstream for the ride. So I think this horse just makes a ton of sense. He looks like he's working outstanding in the morning. And as long as he is fit and he kind of overcome the setback that he had over the winter, I think this horse is your most likely winner in my opinion. And I don't think he'll be your favorite. I don't think he'll get more in line, but I don't think he'll be your favorite. So I think you'll get a fair price.
Yeah, I think Simplification is going to be shorter than short. I'm going to be a chalk eater again this week. It hasn't worked out for me for the last 2 weeks, but we'll see. Look at a long shot play here. I'm going to be going with Dean Delivers. If I can get a 15-1, I'll be very happy with it. I'll be using the horse both keying in my exacta and my tries. I'm a big stats player. I love to look at stats outside the horse. This horse has a lot of stuff that makes me high on it. The impact score of Miggy taking them out, the margin of loss when we look at how the horses ran in the last couple, continuously getting second. I'm going to give this horse another shot. I've lost on this horse twice now, but I'm going to be giving another shot here and for a possibility of breaking that second Titus and getting its first win. Not necessarily going to think it's going to win. I still think Simplification is going to get there, but I would love to see this horse run up in second or third. Who'd you have as your long shot?
Yeah, I do think Dean Delivers looks interesting in here. I mean, a good second last out to My Prankster, who's a pretty nice Fletcher horse himself. My long shot, I ended up on number 3, Howling Time. Truthfully, I think this is the race of the entire weekend across every card. I mean, there are so many ways you could go, angles you can play here. I could make a case for half this field. But I think Howling Time is the one that I'm going to probably lean most heavily into for a long shot. I love the works. Last 3 works were just absolute lightning in the mornings. This horse is versatile. He could make the lead if it falls to him. He doesn't need the lead, as he's proven he can win from off the pace. And I think that Kentucky Jockey Club has just been such a productive race that anytime I get a price on a horse coming out of it, I feel almost inclined that horse needs a pretty good second look. So I think that Dale Romans might have a live one here, especially if he's willing to scratch Giant Game just off the post. I think that, to me, that kind of speaks that he probably has some confidence in Howling Time's chances here. Have to imagine Talamo had choice, and he ends up on this horse for Albaugh Family Stables. So I think Howling Time is one that could be live at a pretty nice price.
Yeah, and I like that you mentioned that Romans in his comments today said there was 90% chance they were scratching, but he was definitely running Howling Time. So I really do like that when they do scratch one, they leave one in there. George shows that confidence. So that is your field of 12. As we had a third field of 13, 1 scratch, the AE draws in. Field of 12 for the Fountain of Youth Stakes, 50 points available here. Most likely we'll see this horse also in the Florida Derby. 1 1/16 of a mile, Gulfstream this coming Saturday, 5:42 p.m.